Hey again, welcome to another edition of Things I Think You Should Know About the Universe. I don't know what number we're on now. Maybe number 7 or something like that? I don't know. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Had a lot going on, so apologize for that. For this one, I figured I'd do something a little bit different. We're not really going to be dealing with the universe per se, but something a little bit closer to home. The ocean. Specifically, a little known fact about the deepest part of the oceans that we're aware of, which we'll get to in a minute. Went to the beach this past weekend, and I snapped this picture from the shore. This is the ocean from the East Coast, right here in the U.S. And if you don't live anywhere near the coast, anywhere near the ocean, where you could just hop in the car and take a couple hours ride down there and take a look at it, it's kind of hard to explain. It's kind of hard for you to fathom exactly how vast the ocean looks when you're standing on the beach and you look out there and try to get your head around how much water is actually out there. It's just awe-inspiring. It's huge. There's a lot of water on the earth. We have, down over here, this is 70 cents, 70 pennies. I have $1 worth of change here. This over here is 30 pennies. That's 70 pennies. So together we got $1. This represents the amount of water on Earth in comparison to the amount of land on Earth. We have about 70% water for 30% land. So there's a lot more water on Earth. There's a lot of it. And part of the reason behind that is because the oceans are so deep. Very, very, very deep in some places. The deepest part of the ocean that we're aware of, it's something called the Marianas Trench. And to give you an idea, it's right over here off the coast of Guam, which we have Japan, Australia. It's like in the Pacific Ocean over here, near the equator, not too far. The Marianas Trench. How deep do you think it is? It's pretty deep. It's about 7 miles down from the surface of the water. 7 miles. It equates to about 35,000, a little bit shy of 36,000 feet deep. Picture a plane flying 36,000 feet up in the air. Put that in the other direction, below sea level. 7 miles. If you were to get in your car and drive 60 miles an hour on the highway, think about the amount of ground that you would cover in 7 minutes. That's the depth of this place, the Marianas Trench. So we've actually been down there in January 1960. Two guys, a scientist, I believe a Swedish scientist by the name of Jacques Piccard, and an American naval officer, his name was Don Walsh. The two of them got in a submersible and they went down. They went all the way down to the bottom. It took them about 4.5 hours to cover the 7-mile trip down there. This is no small feat. Let me show you something. See that thing? This is a Ford Excursion. You ever see these things driving around? They're huge, and they weigh a lot. They're big, big vehicles. I mean, you got no business driving something this big around, but if you were to drive one of those, you would have a vehicle that weighs over 7,000 pounds. Weighs a little bit shy of 7,200 pounds, these Ford Excursions. They are very, very heavy. Let's do a little Mac trick for a second. This over here is my highlighter. The cap to my highlighter, it's about 1 inch by 1 inch. So it's about a square inch. Let me show you something. If we were to squeeze that Ford Excursion into my highlighter cap over here, and then take this square inch cap and put it down on the desk, we will be exerting 7,100 pounds, just a little shy of 7,200 pounds per square inch down on this desk. The cap would fall right through it. It would break right through the wood. That's a lot of pressure. Let's talk about water pressure. What do you think the water pressure is down at the Marianas Trench, 7 miles under the surface of the water? 7,100 pounds? Like the Excursion? Let's bring up 2 other pictures over here. It's not 7,100 pounds. This over here, this is a Hummer H2. Another pretty big vehicle. This guy is amazing, by the way. Nice mustache. The H2 weighs about 6,400 pounds. Do you think if we put the H2 in this this cap over here, we'd equal the pressure down there? Not quite yet. I just bought a new car, actually. This is an older E36 M3. Not a small car. I picked this thing up tomorrow, actually. I'm pretty excited about it. So, this car weighs about 3,100 pounds, a little bit shy of 32. In order to equal the, here's the number for you, 17,000 psi water pressure that they experienced, these guys that went down, we would have to squeeze all three of those vehicles into something the size of this. Picture that amount of weight pushing down on the desk right here. Every square inch of the submersible that they needed to build in order to reach those depths needed to withstand that. A Hummer H2, a Ford Excursion, and an E36 BMW M3 squeezed into this, pressing down on every square inch of the hull of the submersible. So you'd have to think that they'd have to build a pretty fancy submarine to take them down there. What do you think they went down in? This thing. This is called Trieste. And this is the submersible, picture of it in 1960, right before they put it in the water, that they went down in. These two guys hopped into this thing and went 7 miles down under the ocean to the bottom of the Marianas Trench. It's got steel walls 5 inches thick and a little 2-inch peephole that they could peep out of to see what was going on out there. And it took them about 4.5 hours to make the trip down there. 36,000 feet, about 7 miles down, 17,000 psi on every square inch of hull around them. And when they got down there, they touched down, they noticed that they had disturbed a fish. They found a flounder down there, bottom feeding, and they scared it away. So they're actually fish. There's actually life that can survive those types of water pressures. I mean, it's amazing just to think, when you look at something like the ocean, there are parts that if you were to just dive down and keep going and going and going, you wouldn't hit the bottom until 7 miles later. And we've actually been there. And we haven't sent anyone back since. Probably due to funding. There's a book, a wonderful book, called The Short History of Everything by Bill Bryson. Fantastic. I mean, if you're ever looking at to pick up a book that you're not going to be able to put down, buy that one. Great book. Bill Bryson ran the numbers. If we were to try to fund an expedition like that, it would be probably the equivalent of about $100 million in today's money to send 2 guys down there and actually do it again. So there's your answer for you right there. But just something to think about the next time you look out into the ocean. It's pretty vast and pretty big, and I don't know, that's that. We've been down there, down to the lowest point that we know. Thanks for watching, and you know, as usual, send me any messages and or questions or comments that you may have. Thanks again.